Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cantina Corner podcast. Hello, happy Friday to all of you from all of us over here at the podcast show. It has been a long slash quick week, and we are here to do the most recent episode of the WandaVision series on Friday. And I'm very much looking forward to talking about this episode. But before we get into all of that, I want to do something new. I know Cody had started doing this on Wednesday with the baseball. We want to God, I can't even think today. It's been such a long week. I want to go over all of our social medias, kind of throw that out there. We want to make sure that everyone doesn't miss that. I know we've been putting it at the end of the show, and I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to know what we have going on in case you have missed it or never made it to the end of an episode, which is perfectly fine. We have a Discord, social media. We've got YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We've got all that stuff. So definitely, I want everyone to check that out, especially the Discord server, because that is highly connected into what we do here. We have everything from all the different topics we talk about, plus a bunch more. So, I mean, you're going to get all sorts of information, more than we even do episodes on currently. So, if you want more content completely free, join the Discord. It's always linked in everything that we do, every Facebook post. Just hit that show more, and you're going to see all that information. So, definitely check that out. And if you do, you can come in, talk to us, hang out. We're playing games. We've got, chats in there. You can hang out in the chat talk. You could, sit there and play games with us and talk, and we'd love to hear feedback. So I definitely want, everyone to take advantage of that, considering it's free. And, even if you don't go into it every day or at all, just, hit this, join, and you never know, you might pop in. But yeah, now that we got that out of the way, I am really excited to talk about this episode. First thoughts, just to get it out of the way. What was your initial reaction of what happened today in WandaVision, Cody?
First reaction is very good episode. Um I kind of had the feeling like these last two episodes were just going to be fast paced, non like and they're going to try to shove a bunch in to set up, the Doctor Strange movie and everything that's ahead.
Yeah.
Um I actually really enjoyed the slow pace back going back in time and rebuilding the timeline so that we now know how this all started officially right before it's
Yeah.
about to end. I think that's a like beautiful cinematic in a way. To let you grow through the story and then right before you get to the end go back and realize how this all started and just I mean Wanda is kind of in a way the villain of this show,
Yeah.
Um even though, you have Agatha who in this episode is kind of really saying she's not really there for anything other than to figure out how the hell this witch that she's never heard of was able to do a spell like this and create this world when she's been around for centuries and she doesn't have that ability yet.
Yeah.
I thought it was really awesome how they walked through the storyline of her childhood and everything that led up to it, and Agatha was kind of directing that as she was, we found out, directing the present through this whole show. So it was kind of a cool direction I thought they went with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know when I was watching it, like you said, the fact that the pace that they had with it was perfect. I love the fact that they went into detail because, like I told you before we even started recording this episode here, one thing that I really loved is how it all brought like everything full circle.
Yeah.
It was fantastic the way they did it. It was kind of emotional in some parts. If you get emotional in shows, it kind of hit me in the heartstrings a little bit. Seeing the past of Wanda and kind of going to more explanation of her. Because they've always like kind of teased it a little bit as far as like saying how she was, made and all these different things. We actually get to see it, which was really, really cool. And it was kind of a good, quick way of giving a synopsis on her backstory and a little bit of her brother as well, considering they're twins and all that stuff. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I know when you asked me before we started this, because I'd watched it before you, what you wanted me to rate it out of a 1 out of 10, and I said 10 out of 10 in the context of what they've shown us so far within the show, not as like Marvel in general, but as the episodes go, I thought this was a perfect episode. I
Yeah.
really didn't see anything that I can complain about, or and granted, I don't know anything with the comics heavy to really nitpick things, but I thought it was phenomenal. And I mean, the 35 minutes went by like nothing.
Yeah, it flew by. It really did. Like the last few
Yeah.
episodes have.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a nod to the storyline being great and sucking you in. Um, I do like how they explained how, she's had these witch powers to be able to control her probability. Like
Yeah.
when they re-show the Stark missile and how she protected her and her brother for 2 days when they were trapped in there because she could manipulate the probability of the outcomes that were going to happen being, a
Mm-hmm.
witch. And it was just like a simple spell, like Agatha was saying. How did you go from doing this to like holding permanent magic on the end of town?
Yeah.
And then you see how she comes in contact with the Mind Stone, which is interesting. They couldn't see that on camera. That was cool. Um, but it was sweet how like the Mind Stone came and showed her like its true form,
Yeah.
and then you saw like the actual Scarlet Witch like
Silhouette.
aura or silhouette coming towards her, which could be foreshadowing because witches can see the future sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe that's maybe that's the end goal of the show is for her to become that. It was pretty badass for her to call her the Scarlet Witch because she draws her power from chaos.
Oh yeah. When
That
she
was
said,
dope.
that's chaos energy, I was like, oh, here it goes. I was like, please say it,
Yeah.
because we all know it's a Scarlet Witch, but it's never been like verbally said, if I remember correctly.
No.
And when she said that, it was really cool. And kind of what you're saying about, the whole Agatha and Scarlet Witch situation, or Wanda, we had talked about this before. I think it was on probably the last two episodes. I mean, we've kind of talked everything that came full circle in this. We've guessed on with theories and different things. I know you
Yep.
brought up the whole Salem witch trials stuff, and
Yeah, that was
right when I
sweet for it
started
to start out like that. I mean, that wasn't the real witch trials. It was witches, trying to stop her. But I thought that was
yeah, it was
awesome.
like a trial by witches for
Yeah.
witches.
Which, if you notice, like from the color schemes of where they draw their magic, I want to say green is like Doctor Strange's magic is green because it's more pure.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously red is for chaos, and we actually see purple magic in the first Doctor Strange movie. Dormammu uses it because it's from the dark. I don't know what they're. I was gonna say dark ether from like Call of Duty Zombies, but but that's purple too because it's like a dark energy power usually
yeah.
associated with a purple, and that's what Agatha had back then. That's probably why the witches were trying to stop her. As you saw, those witches, even including her mother, their powers were blue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so obviously they knew like that she was evil or drawing from a darker spectrum of the magical realm.
Yeah, so I mean, you definitely hit that right on the head, because I didn't know anything about, Agatha at all, like, period. I mean, I didn't even know that she was a witch until, we had done the first episode with Mason, who unfortunately is not here today to give his thoughts. But I know that was really interesting. And then when you said the Salem stuff, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I started the episode and I was like, bam, there it is. That's awesome. So I get to see that, because I read up on it and it was cool. And I was like, that'd be sweet to visualize it. When I saw it, it was just really interesting. And you could tell that when she was like, "Oh, I can be good. I can be good." It's like in my opinion, she was just saying that to say it. I don't think she really ever wanted to be good. Like, she really wanted that power, which
Yeah.
you could tell the way that she was later on when she was explaining things to Wanda. You could tell she's a power hungry person that wants to be like the strongest witch that she can be, if not the strongest of any.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's not even that she wants to necessarily destroy Wanda, but
No.
she wants to understand how to have the ability to do what Wanda did,
Oh yeah.
and create her own basically her own universe around herself.
Yeah, because I mean that was her whole intention back in the Salem trial that they had with the witches and her mother, was that she used that forbidden power. She wants to know more. She wants to be able to do more. And then so it just carried over very well. And another thing that was interesting when she was giving her whole explanation on everything to Wanda and showing her all that stuff. I know I gave that theory that, I thought Quicksilver, when he was interrogating Wanda in the center of town, like, how did you do this? How did you do that? Like, it's really cool. And she was like weird about it. Like, why, you're not mad at me? You don't think this is bad? And I said that I think Agatha is like controlling him and talking through him to her to get those answers. And then of course
Yep.
she said that, and I was like, okay, boom, got it.
No,
I was like, that's good, because it would make sense. You know, he's her eyes and ears, which is exactly what she said. No, he was my eyes and ears. And I know that he can move quick, so it made sense. You know, he
Yeah.
could just be in and out without anyone knowing. I really like that. I mean, they really answered so many questions that we've talked about, and I know a lot of people have probably thought about, that has gone along with this show. And you know, with the beginning couple episodes being really, I don't want to say confusing, but just like no one knew where it was going, what it really meant, and they've done a fantastic job of being like, I almost want to, because this is what episode, this was 8 or 9.
8. Episode 8.
8, that's right. Yeah, because we said that we're assuming that there's going to be 9 total, which is why I got that in my head.
Yep.
Um, this being 8, I've almost segmented it into like 3 sections, if you will. I know that there's obviously 9 episodes, so I've done it like 3, 6, 9.
Tail to the
So
side, go to the sucker to me one more time. Sorry, I could not help it.
no, it came into my head. That's why I paused and I'm like, don't say it. All I wanted to say was, damn you fine. But yeah, the 3, 6, 9, that's how I've kind of pieced it together. The first 3 episodes were kind of like confusing what's going on. Then the next 3, they've kind of like fleshed out the characters and started really bringing attention. People were becoming self-aware. And then now these last 3 are really just kind of full fleshing it out and answering all the questions. And God knows what's going to happen in the 9th episode, with post-credit scene, which we're going to get to soon. That happened in episode 8 today. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. And when she explained everything, one thing that was interesting, I know we talked about theory wise as far as Mephisto with the whole horsefly thing. I don't know if they kind of like answered that and like threw it out the window that wasn't him when she was messing with the horsefly and turned it into a bird and then like flipped it out and it got ate by the rabbit. If that was like nothing, because I know insects kind of go with the whole witch wilderness wood vibe.
Yeah, I don't think that was anything. Honestly, I really don't think that was anything. I think that was more of a, because all these episodes are shot already, so it's not like they were like, oh, everybody thinks it's a fly. Let's fuck with them, and
Yeah.
So I don't really think it was anything. I think it was just there, and I do think it's hilarious that she fed it to the bunny.
Yeah. That was interesting because I'm like, I don't think rabbits eat that shit, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, so she has a son named Scratchy. So I'm wondering if somehow the bunny is her son. And
well, she can transmogrify stuff, so it might be.
right. And I don't know if that would help, like maybe keeping him alive for some reason, and that's maybe why she wants to know how she did this, so that she can, have her son back to normal.
Yeah.
Just a theory.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it might be. I didn't know that she had a son, so I mean,
Yeah.
that didn't pop into my head at all. So I mean, that would make sense because I mean, she can keep him safe and in plain sight without anyone knowing. You know what I mean? And if he's in a cage, he can't go nowhere and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I mean, I know there's a lot of theories out there that Doctor Strange is a rabbit. I don't see that.
I see it as a far stretch. I really don't see that being
a stretch
anything
for sure. I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that explanation she gave before they went through the whole past history with Wanda and everything like that. I mean, she did a very, just from an acting standpoint, I know we're talking, the whole lore of everything, but from an acting standpoint, she did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I mean, she was very unnerving at times when she was doing certain stuff, like almost to like a psychotic point, like a very calm, collected psychopath.
Yeah, I don't know what it is technically for TV shows. Is it an Emmy? Is that what you win?
I think so. Yeah, it's like Emmy Awards for TV shows.
She should win one for, like, if they have like a supporting actress. I mean, she's from fucking episode 1. She's been phenomenal. She really has.
Oh yeah, all the different. I mean, they've all done good with like the different eras with the TV shows and stuff. But the fact that she's gone back and forth between like being evil, being good, and all that. I mean, she's phenomenal. She's honestly, if it wasn't for I can't remember, as Elizabeth Olsen, and I can't remember his name. He's not a name I usually say very often, but the guy who plays Vision. If it wasn't for those two, I mean, she honestly carries the show.
Yeah. No, she has the last few episodes.
Yeah.
She's carried it. And this is a total different role than what like I know her for, like in Bad Moms, she's like the goofy mom who cracks jokes and the comedic relief in movies. Yeah. And this is a pretty serious role that could change her career. And I mean, she's fucking nailing it.
Oh yeah. I mean, the first thing I remember her from that I ever saw her in was Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Where she was like, playing like the kooky mom.
I want you to crawl up into my vagina. And I know every itch and tickle down there is you.
And I'll just know it's just you in my vagina.
She fucking walks up to the urinal and just pisses in it. And he's like, incredible.
So like when I see her being this like maniacal witch who's like bent on being power hungry, and I think of that, I'm just like, God, like she just
Yeah.
has full range. And that's why I said that like she is doing a phenomenal job with this character.
Yeah,
And
I
I
agree.
don't, like I said, I don't know her from the comics as far as like how her character is, but I hope she's doing true justice to it because I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah, she is. I mean, yeah, she's doing a great job. One thing in the comics, this is why I still think we're gonna get Dr. Reed Richards in this, is Agatha becomes kind of like a babysitter for him and Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's going away after this show. I don't think she's going away at all. I think she's gonna be like that anti-hero, sometimes I'll help person.
Kind of like a Deadpool.
Yeah, kind of like a Deadpool. Just kind of in it for, if there's something in it for them, sure, but you know.
Yep. And they're not afraid to kill somebody. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Let's
she didn't
turn this
care
guy
about
into a
shit.
fucking kebab.
Before I squeeze this tight ass in red spandex. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens with her because I mean, and talking about evil people, another thing, not I don't know if I'm skipping around too much, so just bear with me, listeners and viewers. But you know, Hayward, one thing that surprised me was that I don't know if I'm interpreting this wrong, but it looks like obviously that Hayward lied about how Wanda went about, you know, getting Vision because the
100%.
original video that he showed to everybody when he was trying to talk bad about her was that she just broke in and stole his body and then bounced out. And that's not what happened. She never even took it.
Nope.
And so watching that all flesh out, and he was just like being nice to her and showing her and doing all this stuff and like explaining it and like giving her like her respects and saying like, hey, I understand you want to do this. I know you want to bury him. She just wanted to give him a burial, which very well could have just like avoided this entire scenario.
Yep.
You know, but obviously then we'd never have a story or comics or whatever, which I understand, but it's like crazy to see that it would have been that simple to avoid this whole process.
Yeah.
And you know, he's like, well, you're not gonna just walk out of here with $3 billion of, you know, vibranium that's not your property. I know you loved him, but like he's a weapon technically, or an artificial intelligence. And it was just interesting to see how that played out and to see the truth. And it really, because I've always had that notion that, you know, Hayward was a dick, you know, and you guys told me that there's something in the comics going along down the line, you know, where, you know, Fury steps in and takes over because he's like, you know, lost his, not his mind, but he's just kind of lost his way with like, you know, what he's in charge of. And that really just put a nail in the head. It's like, yeah, he's a douchebag. Like he's got alternate means.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's in the right place, right mindset. And I mean, she walked in there so nice.
Yeah.
You know, she walked in there, she went to the front desk, was talking to them, like being nice and all that stuff. And it was crazy to see the opposite side of that. That caught me off guard.
Yeah. I was shocked when they showed that and her go down there and then just walk to the car. And I was like, okay, so she did like literally legitimately create a vision within inside her hex. And that's obviously why he couldn't leave the hex. Because even though he is something like they explain, like she's actually manipulating reality when things go in the hex and come out, he can't come out because he's not physically in that world, but he is physically manifested within it. That's why he's being torn apart.
Yeah.
And something else that I was thinking of back when they showed that, I was like, so I think a lot of this next episode is going to hinge on who this missing person was from episode 1. If you remember, Hayward sends Rambo. This is why I don't think they had a plan for Vision right away.
Yeah.
Because Hayward sends Rambo to Westview to help with the investigation of a missing persons case. It just so happens that this whole thing is playing out there. If that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I never gave it much thought, so that's interesting. I mean, do you have a theory on where you're going with it, or?
No, I have nothing. I was just thinking about it when they showed that scene, and then when you were explaining it again, I was like, yeah, and there's that missing person that was prominent in the very beginning of episode 1.
Yeah.
Even what's his damn name? Wu.
Oh yeah, Agent Wu from the FBI.
he was there to investigate it, and she was going there to meet him to help investigate this.
Yeah.
But there's no mention of who it is or why government officials of that nature would be involved. It's
It's
just
true because
interesting.
yeah, because if you think about it, because I just thought in my head when you were talking about that, well, maybe it was somebody from the outside who haven't seen a family member in a while, or whatever, and they were like, "I have missing," and that's why they're trying to figure out the town. But then you think back to when the cops were there and they were talking to him, and they're like, "There is no Westview." So like everyone outside of this area doesn't think anything that exists, nor the people within it. So it couldn't have been anyone outside. So there's got to be something sketchy as to what he's going after, or maybe it's Agatha is the missing person. Because I mean, you got to think how long she's been around. Maybe it's almost like the whole thing with going back to the original Avengers. When the Hulk thought he was in hiding, and they were like, "No, we've always known where you're at, and we've even taken people off your scent, and we just didn't need you, but now we do. So now we're coming to you." They have tabs on everybody without us even knowing it most of the time.
Yeah, and thinking now that see, this is why I like talking through theories. Thinking about that, so you could make an argument that Doctor Strange is a missing person, but I think the Agatha thing could be nailing it, where because Doctor Strange is in charge of that hemisphere. He's got his tower in New York City where he watches over everything in the different dimensions. He would know about a witch like Agatha. I would assume that Doctor Strange, the most powerful sorcerer, would know about a powerful witch in the area. And if he was tracking her and he's like, "Listen, somehow I'm just letting you guys know, maybe you should look into this. Somehow she just completely disappeared from, any way of us knowing where she is or tracking her."
Yeah.
She goes into the hex and he loses all ability to track her magic or anything. She just disappears. And, maybe he contacts someone like, "Hey, you guys should look into this. This is the area where it happened." So that could, I mean, that could be.
Yeah, because not to mention the hex people can't think into. And then also she was explaining when she was in her little like witch cave down in her basement that was like a protective spell, a barrier, and only the people can do anything in there is the person who casted it. So that could be like a hidden space for her. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, she could be casting that and no one can get in there. Not to mention the whole Doctor Strange theory is obviously good. Not, obviously knowing that we're getting into the Doctor Strange and the madness of the multiverse and all that. So we know that's coming. That book's missing too. So that would make sense that her and the book go together and that would be the missing persons, or it may just be called a missing persons, but he's really after the book.
Yeah.
But he knows, he thinks he knows who has it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's interesting because I know I watched a clip that someone, obviously it was on TikTok, because every time one of these episodes comes out, TikTok goes on a flurry of like, I watched this old Marvel movie and look what I found that ties to this. And
can we talk about how lame that is when people are like, "Watched Age of Ultron and I noticed something. Oh my God."
Yeah, and it's like,
so
dude,
sick of it.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't mean anything, but good on you for caring.
Yeah.
That's good. I like the effort, but I mean, there was a book missing in Doctor Strange in that library.
Yeah,
like we talked about. So it has to do some
magic around it.
Yeah, and it has to do something with that, and with the whole missing persons thing, because I don't know what else who else would they be there for? Because she's the only one that's been self-conscious of the entire situation. I mean, Wanda wasn't even self-conscious of what happened, because she talks to Vision when they have their first argument. I think it was in like the third or fourth episode, about how she's like, I don't know how it all started, and I've kind of only become self-aware of what this is, because when she first went to the foundation, when she looked at the map and it said like a place to live or whatever, it said that grow old, that Vision had left her with a heart and his little V on the bottom of it. She just kind of snaps and just everything just pours out of her. It basically has like an emotional breakdown, if you will, from a witch's standpoint. So that's where she's like, I don't know how it happened. I mean, she just broke down and had a mental breakdown. So it makes sense that that's how that all created, and she was telling the truth. She didn't mean to do all this. It just happened. And and that's why Agatha said, I sensed all this and there was no way that I was going to ignore it, and I had to come here to figure out what this was.
Yeah. So maybe Wanda's the missing person.
Okay,
you
elaborate.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got my attention.
Obviously they know. I mean, obviously she's an Avenger, so they would be paying attention to one another. And maybe it's recently after she lost someone. Doctor Strange knows how powerful she is. Maybe he's just keeping tabs on her, and he felt that energy wave and then nothing because it's shielded off from the rest of the world. Maybe he's like, okay, she had a spike in her like energy, and now there's nothing. So we need to send someone over there to see what happened.
Yeah, because that was a massive amount of energy. I mean, it was coming out of her like from every angle.
Yeah.
It was just massive, unlimited amounts of energy. And I love how they did it too, where they showed like obviously the red from the chaos energy, but then you saw the yellow in there too from the Mind Stone.
Yep.
You know, showing that it was those two things, which would make sense why she was able to create a visual vision, if you will, because he's given power to manifest himself through the Mind Stone, and she's basically carrying Mind Stone energy that created her chaos power. So that's the only way that she was able to make a embodiment of him there.
Yeah. Which is, spoiler alert, I have a photo of it on the video this far. At the end credit scene when they show them making the white vision from the real vision that we know, and they're using her powers because it's infused with the power of the Mind Stone.
Yep.
So that is how it's able to reboot him successfully. And that'll be interesting because White Vision in the comics, he has none of the personality of regular Vision.
Nope.
At least, at first. So I think you're going to see a Vision versus Vision fucking showdown. Which would be dope.
And I think that's what's going to happen because I was doing some research because I was wondering why he was white. I don't know if that was like an aesthetic thing that they just did themselves. And when I was looking it up, and this is kind of like a fun fact spoiler thing. So if you don't want to know anything about possible Vision stuff, just forewarning you right now. The original writer and artist, which the writer was Roy Thomas and artist was John, I apologize if I'm going to butcher this, Buscema or Buscema, Buscema is his last name, first name John. He was the artist for Vision within the comics, and he probably did the pages themselves or whatever. But originally, the original idea he wanted for Vision was to be pure white. Like he never wanted like the red, the green, and the yellow. He wanted it to be pure white. But fun fact was the problem when they were printing these comics was that it was hard to print a pure white character.
Yeah.
It didn't come out right. It didn't look right with what they were doing at the time. So he ended up coming with the red, green, and yellow look. And so when they were doing the story, the way they described why he was white when Sword had, basically dismantled and put it back together. Well, while they were dismantling him, they had done so much damage to his outer like skin, if you will, artificial skin, that it just turned white because of all the damage from taking him apart, putting him back together. It just flushed everything out. And so when they wanted to bring him back as a nod to his original idea, they made the new Vision that they'd put back together to be pure white in comparison to the Vision that they have now with the color scheme he has, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Dope.
That they were able to incorporate both those.
Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting, and this is another spoiler alert with Vision, as I was reading further, they also say here, which I have the article in front of me, it states that that eventually, I guess, Vision doesn't stay white forever. Because within the comics, which I'd be interested in if they do the Vision versus Vision fight, this might happen. As we've been talking about the Salem stuff and all these theories, I think this might actually happen in the next episode if there's a battle between them. He got his colors back, but it was by swapping bodies with a second Vision from a parallel Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they'll go the whole parallel Earth route or if they'll just have them fight and then the manifested Vision that Wanda has created will swap bodies and take over the one that they actually have physically there that's real and take over it and be himself again.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if that's what they do.
Yeah, it'd be dope.
Yeah, because you're right. It's looking like there's going to be a Vision on Vision showdown after that post-credit scene.
I think it's 100%.
Yeah,
especially we didn't see the Vision we've known at all that episode. We didn't see Spectrum that episode. We didn't see maybe Quicksilver that episode.
Or Rambo.
Yeah. Oh, I said Spectrum, but yeah, Rambo. Sorry.
No, I thought it was Photon.
There's a couple different Spectrum.
A couple different variations.
Miss Marvel.
Okay. Yeah, because the only one that I saw that I've seen prevalent, like in all the articles that I've been doing research on, is they've been saying like photon and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's it, because
Yeah.
I'm ignorant to the comics. But it's going to be interesting because the last episode prior to this, episode 7, Quicksilver, um, ran into Rambo and like tapped her on the shoulder and said creeper's going to creep or whatever he said. Spy's going to spy, and then that was it. So
Snooper's
we
gonna
haven't.
snoop, bro.
Snooper's going to snoop. That's what it was. All in the same vein. But I'm interested to see a collision of just everything, like all these characters in this massive fight, in this struggle for like what's happening, and I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I honestly have no theories.
Honestly, I am interested to see what's gonna happen with maybe Quicksilver. I don't even know what to call him. I mean, we don't really know if he is Quicksilver
No,
from
'cause
another
no,
multiverse
because
or whatever.
Agatha, it could have just made him up, and he could just be literally a spell walking around. We don't know.
Yeah. And Rambo, like I'm interested to see like where are they gonna come into play, and is Wanda gonna lose her shit? We've been teased about this fucking cameo that's coming, Luke Skywalker level cameo, and
God.
the actor who plays Vision, who I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up while you're talking about it because it's bothering me.
He said in an interview that he's been wanting to work with this person their entire life, his entire career,
Mm-hmm.
and they had really good chemistry on set. So, I mean, this person should be prominently in this next episode, you would think, unless there's a secret episode. I know that's been teased because the Office themed intro to what was that, the episode 7?
Yeah, that was the one.
There's a calendar, and what would be March 10th, Friday, March 10th, is circled, and that's the gap week between the Winter Soldier and the Falcon or whatever, and our last episode next week of WandaVision. So we'll see if maybe, because there's a heart around it. The very first episode, they have a heart on the calendar. Well, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So
and they also had the house. They had the heart on the house deed too that she was looking at too.
Yeah. So there could be a secret episode coming. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know why you would do that. Because
unless you're trying to play on the fact of like a multiverse thing where it's like out of nowhere there's just this alternate episode that just throws up out of nowhere because it's just messing with time or something like that. I don't know.
It'd be an interesting marketing ploy to do.
True, because that's the first thought I had. I'm like, if they actually tried to make a real life, like, what happened? This just popped out of nowhere. Here's an episode, but they don't tell anybody about it. They don't tell if it's released, and then it just like
the internet
people
will go
find
crazy.
Like, oh my God,
there's another episode.
An Easter egg is an entire episode, not something within an episode, but the episode itself was an Easter egg that you just have to find or like realize it's out there. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. So
man,
we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. They're doing such a good job with this. I'm very surprised because I knew this was going to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be this interesting. I knew it was going to like do a good job of setting it up, but I didn't think I'd be this invested within the WandaVision TV show that they have. I thought it was going to like kind of be whatever. This is cool, tease it, and then we'll get into like the actual meat and potatoes later in the Doctor Strange movie. I'm so happy that this is big and really fleshed out as it is.
Yeah, it's a movie level production every episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been fun as hell to watch, honestly.
Yeah, and one little thing I know I'm pedaling back to earlier in the episode that we're talking about, but I did like how they explained why it was a whole sitcom thing. Showing her as a child and her father and them having movie night with her and her brother, and like, her favorite show was Dick Van Dyke, which is how the whole, series started, and all those stuff, how she just innately in the back of her head when she had that mental breakdown and let all that energy out, that's where she went to because that was her happy place. That was when she was most happy, when she had everything that she loved around her. Like it was just perfect how they explained that.
I agree. That was incredible attention to detail that they had there, where and then all the shows that you see in his what was he had, his suitcase, I think it was full of them. And you
Yeah,
see,
it was like a little suitcase he was trying to sell in the
yeah,
streets.
and you see her world progress, like the way she knows, like as this happy, funny, all this comedy is happy. Look, all these sitcoms. That was a cool touch.
Yeah, I mean, she was even watching them when she was working with Hydra, trying to fight for a better world because,
Yeah,
the whole Stark Industries bomb and everything like that, which obviously I can't blame her for being twisted from that, seeing that destroy her home. And so it was really cool to see her even watching that when she was sitting in her cell, just
yeah,
volunteering to, be subjected to whatever. And just the only thing that made her happy was the show. And even when her brother died, she was sitting in a room in the Avengers Stronghold watching those shows. And even
yeah,
Vision was trying to like wrap his head around like, why do you like these shows? Why is this funny? And obviously he's a synthezoid, so he doesn't understand, dick really. But it was a nice touching moment between those two that I really, really liked, where he was trying to connect with her and, laughing at the show, and they had that like sweet moment, call me pathetic, whatever. But it was a good, sweet moment between those two to really show you like what like they have, how much it really means to her as to why she snapped like she did.
yeah. No, I agree. I got nothing to add to that. I mean, I think you nailed it. It shows
Yeah,
like how her and Vision started their like romantic relationship, or how it went to another level. Like she always knew Vision was watching over her, and trying to make sure
yep.
she's okay. And he extended an olive branch, and it just, I mean, it went where it went. But I do think the show's kind of humanized WandaVision itself and kind of made you understand, like, okay, they weren't just parroting all these sitcoms just for the hell of it. There was an actual
Yeah.
reason, and it was, her mental state.
Yeah, and it was cool too because when you look at that briefcase, not only did obviously they showed the Dick Van Dyke, but there was all the shows that they had literally teased,
Yeah.
the Malcolm in the Middle, all that
I
stuff.
Love Lucy. Yep. It was all in there.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I really love everything that they've done. I know I keep saying it. There's really not much more to flesh out with this episode because it was pretty straightforward. As far as the theories go, we're literally pulling strings. It can go a million different ways. From the comics, we're talking about parallel visions from different Earths and fusing and I mean, who knows what they're going to do. One question I have theory wise, or I don't want to say theory, but assumption. Do you think this last episode, if it is the last one, is going to be like this one where it's like 30 to 40 minutes? Or do you think we're looking at like an hour-long episode solid?
I think this is finally where we cross over the hour mark.
Okay, because that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that the only way you can do it right, because I don't feel that they can cram it in within 30 to 40 minutes, even 45 minutes. I feel like this needs to be like an hour to an hour and a 15 like minute episode.
Yeah.
With credits, post credits, all that involved. I think an hour and 15 would be like pretty good assumption from what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. Because I didn't know if I was crazy because I was like thinking, I was talking to somebody about it today and they're like, you think they're going to go from 35 to like really over an hour? And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
to
they
wrap
could
it up the
easily
right
do
way.
it. It's not like anybody's gonna not watch it. It's a
No,
finale.
they're going to, yeah, they're going to watch every minute of it and
Yeah.
there's going to be no commercials.
I'll watch it multiple times.
Probably because honestly, this last episode, we're going to have to watch, I'm probably going to watch it 3 or 4 times before we even get on here on, on
Yeah.
Friday to talk about it.
All right, I want to do something before we finish this up.
Yeah, go
It's
for
a
it.
theory we've talked about since we found out the cameo, the Luke Skywalker level cameo is coming.
Okay, because I have no guesses whatsoever, other than what you said.
I'm making you give me 3. I say we each put out 3 that we think could be a possibility.
Okay, all right.
You
want me to start?
Yeah, I say you go 1, then I'll go 1.
Okay. Obviously, the one that's like a no-brainer because we've talked about it and it's made a lot of sense the more we talk about it would be Reed Richards, which I know you'd agree with me on that.
Yeah, I don't think he's that cameo, but I think he's going to be in it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a possibility, because we've talked about it. I think he'll be in it, so I think that there's a possibility that they might do something like that. I'll skip to 2 because obviously that's a no-brainer for the both of us. 2, fuck, it's hard because there's so many different people. I have this weird feeling, if I'm thinking off the top of my head, and I'm thinking pretty hard right now because I'm doing this off the fly. I was not prepared for this fucking screwball.
But I'm going to say something about Reed Richards real quick. There's an Easter egg for the Fantastic Four. It's the same kind of technology that they used to pull Wanda's energy from the drone into Vision that Reed Richards tries to um like, I don't know if it was like a solar flare or there's some sort of anomaly out in space. He was trying to learn how to grab energy from that to
Yeah.
power things, and it reminded me of that, and I thought that was a little Easter egg of like, okay, how'd they get that technology? Maybe it was
Yeah.
Reed, but anyways, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted your thought process.
No, you're good because it gave me time to think because I was caught off guard with this question, which I like. Because this is going to be a true fucking natural answer. I feel that one of them would honestly be Doctor Strange because that's the direction we're going. But I don't think they're going to show a full on cameo Doctor Strange. I think it's going to be this cool little snippet of like at the end or post credits or something where it's like him walking a low shot from like the knee down where you like see his feet, his cape, and then like they cut away. Something where it's like if you know type of deal.
Yeah.
Like they won't say it, but it'll be like plainly obvious if you're well aware. And then I'll let you go while I try to figure out a third because I'll be really thinking on it.
All right. I've had a feeling that it could be my number 3 option that I think is a super stretch is Stanley. I like if there could be some way they could give Stanley a cameo in the first ever Marvel TV show on Disney Plus. I think that would be awesome. I think that's the only emotional connection that would rival Luke Skywalker. I mean, we're huge Star Wars fans, so like when you say that, it fucking means something. And Stanley obviously would mean something. 2, either one of the Magnetos. I know in this flashback, they just showed her pops from the Age of Ultron movie. But if somehow when Agatha, if they say like, Agatha pulled Quicksilver over and somehow either Fassbender or Ian Magneto got pulled in, that would be pretty awesome.
That would be interesting. That'd be really interesting.
My last one also has to do with the X-Men.
Okay.
It's Patrick Stewart.
Ooh. That would be big.
Him reprising that role, like, you see the wheelchair come up and to calm Wanda down, to talk to her from afar. That would be so fucking sweet.
It would make sense.
Do that.
Yeah, it would make sense because I mean, obviously we know she's a witch, but everyone always used to call her like telepathic energy, like she's a telepath, and that's what he is.
And now we're getting Scarlet Witch. She's called that in the X-Men comics. Like that's where that name kind of derives from. So I have a feeling like we're going that direction where they're getting ready to introduce the X-Men in some way. Even when they revealed the trailer, when they revealed the title for the next Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. Tom Holland was wearing a shirt and it was like a triangle geometry fucking problem, and somebody figured out the problem. I saw it on TikTok. I don't even know if it was true, but anyways, one of the things was labeled X, and it was like, the problem was find X. So it's like, okay, are we hinting more at like we're getting to X-Men and mutants into this world? And it would make sense we've seen it in WandaVision, and with the missing kid on the milk carton, and you see it in the little snippet photos we've gotten from the Spider-Man. There's missing children. Like, okay, so where are these missing mutants going? Are they running away from home because they're different and they're running away to the mansion? You know what I mean? Like they could swing that way, but who better to bring in than the Big Daddy himself?
That's true. That's true. And because I can't think of a like viable third choice. Honestly, this could be a total stretch, and obviously I know the character is technically dead or whatever, but obviously that doesn't matter in the things that we're talking about because dead people are walking around in this show right now, and people that don't even belong in this universe. So bear with me. This could be a stretch. Thinking of the X-Men universe, who's the only other person that dealt with such a chaotic energy that really they couldn't even control, even though they could control it. But when they lost their minds or snapped, it was just all over the place, and it could be world ending.
Jean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I know she's dead, because in the third movie, unless I'm remembering,
in one of the universes, she is.
Yeah,
Did she
that's
die
what I'm saying.
In the most recent one, they
It
had
was
that movie Dark Phoenix. I saw it once. I don't remember.
Well, Dark Phoenix was when she was young, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know in X-Men 3 United, if I'm saying it right, that was when she was like going ham, like she was just losing her mind, and then she sacrificed herself, and that's when Wolverine was like, don't do this, and she's like, I have to, because she knew she couldn't control anything. So dealing with this whole multiverse thing, I know she's not like Luke Skywalker, level of like holy shit, but in an X-Men sense, I mean, she's a big prominent character because she's obviously had multiple movies. She's a big character. She was always like, that thing. And she shares what Wanda has as far as that chaotic energy that they can control, but have no idea what they're really in possession of.
Yeah. No, not a terrible theory at all.
So I'm just, that's a shot in the dark, but it's the only thing I come up with like off rip.
Yeah.
Not being prepared to really like think about it.
I wanted to get your natural reaction.
That's a natural reaction. I think it's either going to be Reed Richards or something along that line. The whole Professor X, that's a great one because, he's the head honcho of the whole thing besides, Magneto.
Yeah.
And then, some type of Jean Grey or something like that because we've already got Quicksilver. So, I mean, I can't think of any other characters that really matter.
Yeah. And I was thinking about with the Professor X thing, like, could Wanda inadvertently, chaotically, in the comics, she just like she says no more mutants and all the mutants are no more. Could she, in this universe, could they spin that where she ends up inadvertently giving mutants their powers, people who just thought they were normal people and had like some ability, like Rambo, she always had that strength and that drive, but going through that hex, could there be something that's going to happen? Like, let's say Agatha, obviously we know Tommy and Billy right now are just a fabricated thing within Wanda's reality. What if Agatha like destroys them or takes them away from her? I mean, we saw what she did when she lost Vision, losing her children. Could she like expand that hex across? Like, could that energy go across the entire planet? And that's how mutants are brought into the MCU, where the Scarlet Witch literally wrapped the earth and created the mutants instead of destroying them like in the comics.
I mean, it's possible because I brought up in the last episode, with the whole multiverse thing, that technically what Scarlet Witch was doing within the comics, she was on Earth 616, one of the many. So that could be a version of that Earth that happens.
Yeah. There's so many different ways they could do this, man.
I know,
and I know they're going to do it the right way.
Yeah, I have all the faith in the world, but we could sit here for 2 hours and come up with like 50 different variables as to what's going to happen. But
yeah,
I honestly have no clue. This is the first time that I really can't come up with something that could happen. I could just give you like 5 different scenarios and just hope for the best.
I kind of feel like I was talking to Mason earlier today. I was kind of saying, on this podcast, we've gotten something right each episode.
Yeah,
and I just feel like we're at the point where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to throw out everything and see if it sticks.
Hey, we've had a good track record so far.
Yeah,
you guys more than me. I've just caught certain things, but it's been pretty solid so far. We're pretty on point. Yeah. And I know obviously you can look at comics and guess because they're going off of source material, but still.
Yeah, and I mean they don't necessarily take everything from that, That's what makes it so difficult. They'll tease you something that's in the comics and just totally go away from it. It's more
like the
of
whole
an
horsefly
Easter egg.
situation.
Right. It's more of an Easter egg than it is anything, It's not really anything. So I'm excited for this next episode, man.
I am too, but at least we're not as crazy as the milk carton guy theory with the whole. Remember that when we were talking about that? We're not that bad.
There's some real people out there who just like have clickbait content, man, and it's fucking annoying. I
Yeah,
mean, whatever. Do
it's
you? I mean, you're getting more views than us, so whatever. But I mean,
yeah.
we're doing this because we enjoy it. You know, we like talking about it. We want to talk
Yeah,
about it with everybody else. You know.
I was a victim of clickbait. I shared in our own Discord, which by the way, follow the Discord, shameless plug. I shared in the Discord what I thought was the new Spider-Man movie trailer
Yeah, you
or the
fell
new
for the
Spider-Man
Tom
name.
Holland troll.
Yeah, because I saw it and I'm like, I'm trying to be on top of things and we're trying to make sure that everyone knows everything, the minute that it's out there, which is why we love our Discord. I want everyone to know that information and have the first crack at it. And it was shared from IGN. So I'm like, it's got to be legit.
Yeah.
I'm very careful with where I get my sources, and IGN's pretty solid. But Tom Holland was being a troll. So, Cody here immediately messaged under the thing. He's like, that was fake, and had to put trolling with the arrow up to let everyone know in our Discord. Our beautiful, all you 35 members in there. I love every single one. Yeah. And I was like, well, I didn't know, but he got me.
Yeah, I mean, they did it on purpose to make people pay attention, and then they released the little video.
Yep, they made me look real unprofessional.
Yeah, which if you notice on that whiteboard, there's a bunch of hexes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Wouldn't it be madness if she just surrounded the world and like things from different worlds are just getting sucked in to ours? I mean, that's madness.
That is.
Madness.
Madness. This is Wanda. Dude, I'm stoked. I mean, I really can't say anything more about this. I mean, I think we pretty much picked it apart and thrown everything that we can come up with that's going to happen next episode. We're all just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the exciting part.
Yeah, and I'm honestly glad that I'm clueless right now. I've got avenues of approach of what I think is going to happen, but I'm so glad that I'm clueless, which is what made me excited for the show in the first place. Being clueless to like where this was going, which is why I wanted to watch it. First 3 episodes, I'm like, I'm glad I have no clue, and I'm glad at the end I have no clue. Beginning, no clue, and no clue. Middle, yeah, you can expect certain things, but I am so glad that those pieces are just completely in the dark for me because that's what makes it exciting, and you're going to enjoy every bit of it.
Yep, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
Well, I think that's going to do it. I mean, unless you got any other things you want to say on it, I think we've pretty much fleshed it out.
No, we nailed it. I mean, there's nothing else to say. We'll be having another podcast on Monday. Obviously, you could probably tell if you made it this far, our audio is a lot better. We're upgrading things.
Yep, we are upgrading things, which is fantastic. And soon, hopefully, I'm working on. I know Cody's got some things already, and I'm working on some stuff. We're gonna have some sponsors that we're gonna be putting up here. Different codes for products and places you can go that you can get some cool products that we love and use. I know I personally do. I will tease that right now. I won't say until it's official because I don't, obviously want to do that and lie to anybody if it falls through. But we'll be throwing those out. So we've got a lot of things in the works. Obviously, like you said, we're upgrading equipment. We're trying to make this sound as good as possible. We're really, really going full head into this. So I hope you're enjoying it. As always, like I said in the beginning, definitely check out the Discord, Facebook, Twitter, all those different YouTube, everything. We've got all of it on there. If you go on the Facebook or YouTube, please leave a comment. If you got theories, leave them on there. We would love to just go back and forth on what you say, and we will talk about them in the show, because we're reading all the comments that we've we've gotten, little because we've just started right now, but the ones we've gotten, we read them. We read everything.
They've been awesome.
Yeah, and we see everyone that, likes everything. I mean, we're tracking all of it. We care about all our listeners and our viewers, and we appreciate you. Other than that, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, depending on when you're listening to this, Friday the 27th, with the WandaVision release today. And yeah, we will see you on Monday for our current events episode. We're going to have a multitude of topics we're going to talk about, like we did last Monday. We did video games, music, movies. Well, not music. I'm going to try to throw some music in there, which I have to talk to Cody about. So we might be doing some music stuff too. But yeah, we will see you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the show.
Yeah, deuces.